Okay, welcome to a public hearing for 2020-2021 Development Code Docket Item CR5, Places of Worship. It is 3:39 p.m. Our previous meeting ran a little bit long. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the proposed amendments to Title 23 of the Thurston County Code, the Olympia Urban Growth Area zoning relating to the Places of Worship Development Code amendment. I'm Carolina Mejia, Chair of the Board. Via Zoom is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and to her right is our Clerk of the Board. On Zoom, we are joined by County Manager Ramiro Chavez, and as well as Maya Teeple, who will be presenting on this item today. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify by Zoom, emailed a comment or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings on the left-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Maya Teeple, Senior Planner, will provide information on this topic. I will read the names, and so far we do not have anyone else on our Zoom platform. Assuming those on Zoom wish to testify, I will read your name aloud. You will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record. Okay. The public hearing is now open. Maya will now present background information of the proposed amendment, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board. Go ahead,
Great,
Maya.
thank you, Chair Mejia. Maya Teeple, Senior Planner with Community Planning. As mentioned, this public hearing is to accept public testimony on Development Code Docket Item CR-5, which is the Places of Worship Code Amendment. This proposal is a citizen-requested proposal, and it would impact Chapter 23.04 of the Thurston County Code, which is the Residential Districts chapter of the Olympia Urban Growth Area Zoning Code. Specifically, the option being considered at today's public hearing is the Planning Commission recommendation, which expands zoning districts in the Olympia UGA where dormitories may be permitted with a place of worship. And it also includes regulatory standards limiting the size and scale of dormitories by requiring that they be accessory in size, scale, and function to the principal use on site. Just to go over a brief history of the review of this proposal, the Planning Commission previously reviewed this item on August 4th and on September 15th, 2021, and held a public hearing on November 3rd on 3 options. Following the Planning Commission's public hearing, the Planning Commission unanimously voted for one of the options, which was option 2 at the time, with a small modification to the code language to clarify that dorms be regulated by requiring them to be accessory to the principal use on site, rather than including a hard square footage limit and a limit on the number of rooms and beds. The Board of County Commissioners was briefed on the Planning Commission recommendation and the other 3 options on December 1st of 2021. And at that briefing, the board directed staff to set a public hearing on the Planning Commission recommendation only. Following the public hearing, the board does have the option to approve the ordinance today, or the board may direct staff to bring this proposal for a follow-up briefing to discuss any public comments received. Notification of this public hearing was published in the Olympian on December 17th, and in addition, a web mail was sent out to Community Planning's listserv on the same date. A press release was also issued on January 10th of 2022, and the Thurston County Community Planning website was updated with all of the documents prior to the legal noticing going out. To date, we've received 1 written public comment, and that public comment was from the City of Olympia that just provided a thumbs up with the option that is being considered at today's public hearing. That concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
When we refer to this as presented by the Planning Commission, you said option 2, I think. Was there just the 1 or 2 options? Is that what we're talking about here? And they recommended 2?
The Planning Commission initially considered 3 separate options, and the option they recommended to the board was option 2. At today's hearing, the board only moved forward that Planning Commission recommendation. So only option 2 moved forward to this hearing.
And I guess I'm trying to make sure we get it right. So is option 2 in any of our paperwork here? I just didn't see it.
It is attached as the draft ordinance, and behind that draft ordinance are the specific code changes that are included for that option.
Is it attached to anybody else's stuff?
I do not have it.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm just trying to make sure we get it right when we vote on it. That's all. I'm going to go along with the Planning Commission and with the City of Olympia's request, but I don't have any other thing here, and I didn't know if I needed it or not.
Yeah, the packet material was provided previously, but if you'd like a copy of the ordinance, we can provide that now.
I don't know as I need a copy. I'm very comfortable with staff's recommendation and the Planning Commission and the City of Olympia. I just want to refer to it properly. I mean, if we decide to do something, I want this meeting to reflect that we as a board did. I mean, there's some verbiage here. I just don't know if it covers it. That's all. I'm just asking the question. I'm not even going to be making the motion, I don't think. I'll be seconding it, possibly. So I just want to get it right. I'm only asking for that purpose. And Maya apparently has all that stuff, and she's not readily available to run it over here, so. What do you think, Robin? I mean,
So I believe that staff reviewed the motion that was submitted and that this is an accurate reference to the action that the board could take.
okay.
Amy has gone to double check, but
Was it included when we discussed it? Because I have those materials and I probably could go search for them, but I just, we probably discussed this at our work session. Is that correct, Maya?
Yes, Commissioner, the draft motion was included when this AIS was submitted. It was discussed at last week's agenda setting, and the draft ordinance with the proposed code language was discussed at the December 1st board briefing. It is also included in the agenda packet that was disseminated and put online for today's board meeting. It's towards the end. Within the last 30 pages is the actual ordinance with the code language. So
Maya,
it has been, go ahead.
Could you just confirm that we are talking about the Olympia Urban Growth Area Zoning Title, Chapter 23.04, Residential Districts?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So I believe this is accurate, Commissioner.
Okay, and then do we assign ordinance numbers after the fact or prior, after the fact?
Yes.
So there's nothing like that to refer to. Okay, I'm good to go. I didn't know if anybody was here to sign up other than Olympia.
Okay, Commissioner Menser, questions?
Well, this is getting ahead in my opinion, but since it's on the table, I just want to make sure that the action that's it's in the hearing script. It just says approve an ordinance. Obviously, this is the draft ordinance and I have it, but is that sufficiently specific to make sure county manager maybe has an answer to my question?
No, please don't. If you're considering moving into the second option after you close the public hearing, I will ask to refer to the motion included on the actually agenda. You don't see this.
Yeah, I can see. I'll get it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
good.
probably the more accurate motion.
They are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Remember,
are.
the motion in the script and the motion on the agenda are the same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, that's fine. And, it's the standards regulating size and scale that differentiates option 1 from options 2, or option 2 from options 1 and 3. Is that right? I just have trouble remembering what 1 and 3 were. I remember why we chose 2, but I just don't remember what 1 and 3 were different.
Could I make a comment, Madam Chair?
Uh,
They are,
Go ahead.
I agree with Robin. They are about the same, but the difference is that in our ordinance with the AIS, I think what threw me off on this was third line down where it's on the sheet we were just given, says growth area zoning Title 23, Chapter 2304. And this one does not refer to zoning Title 23. So they just left out a little tiny piece of it.
Side by side, Commissioner, they look exactly the same to me.
They are.
Yeah, they are the same.
They're exactly the same?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's Thurston County Code, Olympia,
Title 23.
Title 23, Title Chapter 2304, see?
Yeah, it just, the 23 isn't in there. That's all.
23.
Oh,
the only
Title,
difference.
the Title
You see what I'm
23,
talking about?
okay, yeah, I see what he's, so after the urban growth area zoning, Title 23, Chapter 2304, the 23 is missing after title.
Do you have an outdated piece of paper, sir?
Do I don't know.
No, yeah, so it's the title,
Right, but
I'll go back to what Martin Luther King was saying, the time is always right to do what is right. So, being it's Martin Luther King's day,
So you may have an outdated version of an
Okay.
agenda.
I suppose anything is possible. Does yours have that?
yeah, no, mine doesn't either. Okay, so I guess we'll just add that Title 23 onto that action. But
Oh,
I know,
It's not Title 23.
so is the ordinance wrong then?
The
I have the motion in front of me. If you would like me to read what I have written down, I'm happy to do that.
Okay,
yes, please.
So could I suggest moving with the public hearing, Commissioner, and then closing the public hearing, and then you get
And then-
into the
and then-
discussion of the
We
motion?
can-
okay. And then
Semantic.
Commissioner Menzer had a question regarding option 1 and option 3. Could you, Maya, I'll hand that question to you, so.
Absolutely. I'm happy to answer that. So at the December 1st briefing that the board had, we did review all 3 options that were considered by the Planning Commission. And option 1 only expanded dormitories that could be permitted with a place of worship to the specific zones. Option 2 expanded those to the same area, but included the regulatory standards to limit size and scale. And then option 3 was kind of in a different direction. It did not expand the locations where dorms could be permitted with a place of worship, but it looked at alternative pathways through things like guest houses and single room occupancies. And those types of uses were not found to be very useful to what the applicant's end goal was for this code. So those were the 3 options that the Planning Commission considered, and the board elected to move the second one of those, which was the Planning Commission recommendation forward to this public hearing today.
Could I ask a question? Could I ask a question?
Do you have a follow-up to this?
Yeah, to my, so I just want to make sure we get that right. So we moved ahead with option 2, and that's what the Planning Commission recommended, and that's what the City of Olympia is supporting. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it meets with the applicant's requirements as well?
Yes, that's correct. It does
Okay.
meet the applicant's desired end goal.
Good. Well, I'm good with it. I just want to make sure we got it right. That's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Menzer, any follow-up questions?
No, I just would say I do see where Commissioner Edwards he's comparing the draft ordinance to the action, and there's that extra 23 in there. So I do see that. I don't know if it matters, but something we can take up at the end if we need to.
Okay. So with that, we'll move into public testimony. And I'll go through the guidelines. So the Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. So the general speaking guidelines, please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comments on a need basis. The county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory. Are you guys getting the feedback or?
Here we go.
You were breaking up there, but you're back, so I can hear you.
I was getting some weird feedback. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kinds. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to the public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW, or remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come up before the Board on Appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. With that, I don't see anyone on Zoom. Okay, so.
Is it Zoom only? We're not doing the old conference call thing that we used to do okay. It's a Zoom only access, okay.
Okay, with that, is there any more discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to move to close the public hearing?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay. With that, do we want to consider moving ahead and approving an ordinance?
I would like to. There doesn't seem to be disagreement.
And if I hear a motion, I'll make a second.
Okay, I would move to approve an ordinance amending the Thurston County Code, Olympia Urban Growth Area zoning title, Chapter 23.04, residential districts, to expand zones allowing for dormitories associated with places of worship and include standards regulating size and scale of dormitories associated with places of worship.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay, with that, our public hearing is closed. I apologize for the technology malfunctions we had on this end. Okay, thank you so much, Maya.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.